Welcome to Bastards of Oblivion.
The Bastards of Oblivion, episode 3.5. The Clones of Baby Hitler, part 1. The birth of Adolf Hitler is pivotal in the formation of the Solar Ghost Force. Indeed, if it had not been for baby Hitler, then none of this would have happened. In fact, if not for the birth of baby Hitler, history as we know it starting from around 44 BC would be staggeringly different. Adolf Hitler was actually born on September 23rd in the year 63 BC. The entire global mess and conspiracy began after Julius Caesar assumed control of the Roman government. Believe it or not, he cared about the empire. He began helping people and reforming the corruption in the Senate and commerce. Roman citizenship was coveted. It was very elite. Many people were granted citizenship. The overall conditions of the empire improved greatly. He was very concerned with the war veterans of his armies. But he claimed himself to be dictator for life. Dictator perpetuo. The official propaganda says that this was his downfall. The truth is that the established cabal was losing their grip and they were panicking. Before we tried to kill baby Hitler, life under Julius Caesar was very prosperous and good. Baby Hitler is an asshole no matter where he turns up. With the help of the local cult of Diana and her army of sacred prostitutes, the Bastards of Oblivion were able to convince Decimus to work with us in protecting Julius Caesar from Brutus and Cassius, who were trying to lure him into being blackmailed. We did this in the Onierosphere. Through a series of dreams, the High Priestess of Delphi was able to convince Decimus that it was his destiny to rule Rome. Decimus was an advanced dreamer, but he thought that the Onierosphere was his personal playground, and so he didn't really believe it existed. This was the point in the timeline we needed to make the mission a success. Shakespeare was later instructed to downplay the role of Decimus and alter his name to Decius in order to conceal his true identity. We were able to convince Decimus to get close to Julius Caesar, because Decimus was so arrogant he would brag about it, his accomplishments, and all the things that he knew and all the people that he was close to. He would actually brag about them in his dreams, and we were able to acquire much information this way. But Decimus, his head got big, and he began to actually believe himself to be a god. So he killed Caesar in an attempt to assume control. On the Ides of March, 44 BC, Caesar was stabbed to death. A new civil war broke out and the Roman Republic was never fully restored. However, Julius Caesar had a child with the Queen of Egypt in a secret occult ritual to produce a magical child. This was the birth of baby Hitler. Lieutenant Christian was responsible for this one. After the child was born, one of the Queen's wet nurses was employed to poison the infant. That would be Lieutenant Christian. He altered 3,000 years of Earth history. This, of course, pissed off the Grey Aliens, and they created 1,000 baby Hitlers from the DNA of the magical child, mixed with their own. We thought we could keep baby Hitler in line, but after the Earth was all but wiped clean of life in the 22nd century, we went back in time and had to kill him. After 3 failed attempts, we decided to go after Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, his adopted heir, was called Octavian, and he was a baby Hitler clone. And he didn't even know. Later, he was known as Augustus. He rose to power after defeating his enemies in the Civil War. Octavian, or Augustus Caesar as he is known, is credited with the advent of the era of the modern Roman Empire. Decimus began using dark occult rituals to try and gain power. He followed the new official Julian calendar, however, and this screwed up his magic. One of our agents was sent in to be captured by the enemies of Octavian, and he was executed. We missed the baby Hitler clone that turned out to be Augustus. Fortunately, Antony and Cleopatra had their own ambitions, and Augustus Caesar didn't completely succeed as much as the Nazis wanted him to. Now, if I continue with these Earth's historical timeline of events, starting in 44 in the Ides of March, then it will make even less sense than it might seem to you right now. So I'm going to have to go mission by mission. That was our first mission, which you can, as you probably figured out, was 4 missions. So here's a piece of backstory first. In 2134, there will be a meeting on board an intergalactic starship so large that its shadow, when in orbit over Earth, can block out the sun. On board this starship, there are ambassadors, emissaries, mercenaries, and authorities from all religions and their various denominations. They're from the military, different governments from all over the galaxy, but mostly from this planet. The Greys were never allowed to colonize Earth. They aren't all that well liked because they have an obsession with the pleasurable effects of sexual energies and are pretty much amoral in this regard. This was so much of an obsession that they lost the ability to breed, and they can only reproduce by cloning. There are short ones and tall ones. Both share the same reproductive affliction. They are from completely different origins and have no genetic compatibility. The Greys may be the oldest known of all the races. They are terrified of becoming extinct. Short Greys are sort of turquoise, actually. The tall Greys are more brownish black. The average lifespan of a Grey is around 2,000 Earth years. The Nordics acquired what we know as Europe and Africa. These guys are pretty benevolent. They are also one of the more well-known of the alien races due to a large mercenary legion of them becoming affiliated with Adolf Hitler. The association of the Nordics with the Nazis is blown way out of proportion. The whole story of the Nazis as it is officially recognized on Earth is convoluted and whitewashed in comparison to the real story behind the Holocaust. The Anunnaki and the Syrians were allies, and they acquired what we call the Middle East. They are very important. At this time on the Earth's space continuum, the two are actually squabbling over mineral rights. The Alpha Draconians were allowed to colonize the Earth beneath the surface only. They have allied themselves with the Greys. They happily exchange DNA with the Greys in hope of prolonging their own lifespans. They live about 200 Earth years. There are rogue reptilians, however, who are sympathetic to the humans. There are, of course, many other races of beings, but these particular extraterrestrial races figure more prominently in the story. Let me see here. First, let's make it enough. Let's say that you own a large parcel of land. Today, the natural resources will be claimed by the state, but you can still do pretty much whatever you want. It's your land. But anyway, there's a colony of rabbits living happily on your land. You like the rabbits and you let them do their thing because they were here first. They are your rabbits. One day you notice that the rabbits are getting out of hand, and virtually all of the vegetation is gone. So you decide to kill the rabbits. But you liked the rabbits, so instead you simply lure a wolf back to help balance the land. The wolves thin out the rabbits and keep the population in balance. And the land once again flourishes with vegetation. Guess what?